Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to my podcast, Rewire to Inspire. I am your host, Jessie Brown, and I am a tad bit excited to be jumping on the microphone with you all for episode number 174. If you don't know, which you probably wouldn't, my favorite numbers are 1, 4, and 7, so the fact that this is 174 energetically to me just makes me very, very excited. And I know what you might be thinking, Jessie, those are 3 of the 9 numbers in which exists. However, it's when those numbers are together, to me, it just speaks to my heart in a different way. And so I am just very, very excited and honored to be jumping on the microphone with you all. Happy November. Weird to say. Before recording this episode, I took my pumpkin down that was behind me if you're watching video because I was like, whoa. It's almost time to decorate for the holidays behind me. And I've been trying to decide what I want my backdrop to look like, but now I'm like, we don't have time to worry about that. We need to decorate it for the holidays. So if you're not watching video, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but my backdrop has been the same for a very long time, and I'm just ready to transition it into something different. Full transparency, it has been so busy since starting coaching. So I coach 3 days a week, and that's just a huge chunk of time between my 9 to 5, and also I'm a social media manager doing my podcast. There's just a lot of things going on right now that I love so much, and I'm so grateful for all of those, but it hasn't left a lot of time for me to focus on some of these things. But I've made a promise. It is going to happen. It is going to shift. Like I said in the last episode, I'm rebranding entirely my intro, my outro. I was even looking at my logo and I'm like, I designed that a little while ago. Do I want to kind of pivot that? And there's just been a lot of that kind of talk lately in my mind. And I've been referring to it lately as like ear to ear talking. So like that inner dialogue that is happening. And I think that sentence actually surfaced for me in a dream a couple weeks ago where I called it ear to ear conversations in my dream, and now that's just the only way that I can describe that internal voice is like, no, it's my ear-to-ear conversation. It's my internal dialogue. And I really think that this beautifully is going to flow into today's episode. But before we dive in, if you missed my last episode, labs episode, number 173, I talked to you guys about 10 different signs that somebody is good for your mental health. I really enjoyed that episode because I think it's really important that we recognize these things, and that me and my partner have been talking this week so much about investment of time and how important it is to make sure that we are investing our time into the right persons, places, things, and ideas that are going to give us some kind of return, either of happiness, profitable, something down the line. We have to just be mindful of how we invest our time. And without recognizing that, it's so easy for chunks of time to pass by and be like, whoa, I haven't done anything, or I haven't been intentional, or whatever it is. And even recognizing that it's November right now, it's like, holy smokes, like I work for the school board and I felt like school had just started. And so time is just this really beautiful, precious thing that I think we take for granted. And we're always trying to get to that next thing, jump to that next season. We're trying to just like claw things closer to us. And I think it's just really important to slow down and to be mindful and to just enjoy the flow of life and stop wishing away time. So that was a little side tangent. I'm full of energy. It is snowing outside today for the first time yet this season. I'm excited. I'm really excited to be jumping on here. And today's episode is one that I really hope lands. And I wrote down the title and I wrote down a couple things, but I kind of want to just see where this goes from my heart, because this has been a large theme on my mind lately. And I'm just always curious, if something's heavily on my mind, is somebody else also dealing with this as well? And if you are, the hopes that I can help you not feel alone and maybe give you just some reassurance that you're not alone and that this is normal to feel this way. And so what I want to talk about is around, do you believe your best is in the past? Do you believe your best days, your best accomplishments, your best relationships, your best memories, your best everything? Do you believe that that is in the past? And I encourage you to just ponder for a minute. Have you found yourself stuck lately? Looking back at your life and feeling like that's as good as it's gonna get. That's the highlight of my life. And obviously, depending on your age when you listen to this podcast, this could be landing differently, but I'm going to be 25 this month. And there's parts of my brain that tell me the best is in the past. Something about that when you say it out loud really just makes you kind of cringe for a second. But I think that no matter what our age is, I think a lot of us have been stuck in this cycle of feeling like, and I don't even think it's that we're conscious of it, that we think the best is in our past, but it's that we don't necessarily think our future is bright or has potential or is going to be exciting. And so I think as much as maybe we aren't actually saying and admitting and are conscious of we think the best is in our past, I think a lot of us are maybe struggling with thinking that our future is bright. And so this has been a reoccurring theme in my mind for weeks. And I've been doing a lot of reflecting. And I think that the reason for this is because, and again, this is my story, and so I want you to be thinking about you, but I had done so many things back to back that just the momentum led into another, into another, into another. And so I think that because I had grown so quickly and gotten so many experiences new quickly and did a 180 in my life so quickly, and it happened so fast, a part of my mind is well, you could never do that again, or incapable of what that could look like. And so it just keeps telling me the best doesn't exist anymore. You've already been through that. And that's been really effing with my mental health. Because I'm that can't be true. My best can't be in the past. There has to be so much more. But what happens is when we get in those mindsets and we don't have an answer of what that looks like, because I don't have an answer about where I'm heading exactly, it's a lot easier to convince ourselves of the alternative and to go to the negative. And I think that because I had accomplished a lot of the things that I wanted to, it's almost okay, now what? And because I haven't gotten clear on what that's going to look like, it's just been leaving this void and this pit in my stomach. And I took some time yesterday I'm someone who very strongly has a spiritual side of me. I love all things moon and Buddhism and meditation, crystals, smudging. I just love anything in the woo world. I am obsessed with. And sometimes because I am so busy, I kind of neglect that part of me. And I can always tell when I've neglected that part of me because there's always a piece of my heart that's just please pay attention to me. I need some love. And so yesterday I was very intentional about, okay, we need to have a little bit of a woo evening. And I picked up a book that I've had for years. And it's called Journey to the Heart by Melody, I want to say Beattie? Beattie. I'm probably butchering that. I think I should get an award for being the worst at pronouncing names. It's actually funny. But I hope that I'm saying that correctly. If you're watching video, you can see the book that I'm holding. And I've had this for years and years and years. And basically every single day, there is a new meditation or a new thing to read through. And you can use this years and years and years in a row because it's just going to be a different message every day, and then you recycle the next year. There's no way you would ever remember what it said the year prior, and so it's just this beautiful thing that I like to go to. And my bookmark was in this book, and the last time I had opened it was somewheres at the end of August. So I'm okay, I haven't opened this bad boy in 2 months. And I was reading it yesterday, and I wanted to read a little paragraph to you of what it said. And I had read this yesterday on my Instagram story as well, because I just felt so pulled to share this, of thinking that I can't be the only one that's needing this. And it very nicely ties into what we're talking about today. And so again, I'm just going to read 3 or 4 sentences of what it says. But the title of it is "The Best Is Yet to Come." First of all, like, how fitting is that with what we're talking about? I was like, holy shit, this is pretty cool. Okay. "You've had many great times, visited many interesting places, done excellent work, and had truly memorable experiences. You've experienced a lifetime of love with friends, family members, loved ones, but the best isn't over. Whether you're at the end of a particular relationship, task, or part of your journey, the best is not over. It is still to come. You are ready to take your place in new creative experiences. There are many places still to see, soulmates yet to meet, lessons to be learned, joys to be experienced. Transcend your limitations. Open your mind and heart to all that lies ahead. Call it to you often in the quietness of your heart by believing what is true. The best is yet to come." Upon reading that, it was really the last sentence that I was like, boom. Call it to you often in the quietness of your heart by believing what is true. If we do not believe something, energetically, we will never attract it. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe your best is in your past, it's almost like you're not going to put on the proper lenses to see and have that optimism looking forward. You will continue to look backwards to reiterate why that is true. When we stop believing that our future is bright and that it is spotless and that you can achieve, I believe, anything you put your mind to within reason. But belief is the first step. And we've talked a lot on this podcast about self-belief and self-worth. And if you don't believe something is possible or achievable, why would you go after it? Why would you try? The answer is you wouldn't. And the reason I wanted to do this episode is, do you believe your best is in the past? Is because, have you started to show up as such? Have you stopped saying yes to new opportunities because there's a part of you that's like, it won't be worth it? Is there a part of you that believes you've already accomplished everything that you can possibly accomplish? I want you to also recognize how that's negatively affecting your mental health, because I can sit here and admit so sincerely how much this has been hurting my mental health. Basically, what that equates to is you've lost hope in a brighter future. When we lose sense of a brighter future, our quality of life is gonna deplete. Think of it like the times, I'm hoping that this lands, when, for example, you're about to go on vacation and you haven't worked out all year. The month prior to going on vacation, you busted at the gym. You work out like crazy because you have something that you're looking forward to, you're trying to get a result for. But if that vacation was never booked, you would likely still continue to do the same habits, eat the same things, not move your body, etc. When we haven't set that benchmark for our future, our habits and how we show up is going to stay the same, and it's going to keep reiterating as the same. As I was writing a couple things down, I just kept thinking of these particular clients in my head that I would work with, and they would be all the love, the most frustrating clients to work with, because there was zero sense of hope or optimism about the future. And I know that trauma is at play, and when trauma comes in and we have shame and we lose hope, and I get those things, and there's so many fundamentals and pieces and components that go to this. But it's so hard to work with someone when they have zero hope that a brighter future is possible. You cannot grow where there is not hope. And I've just been self-admitting to myself lately, like, Jess, that's where you've been hanging out. Your mental health has been a challenge the last couple of weeks. This makes so much sense. And so I want you to ask yourself, 0 to 10, how much do you believe that your best is in the past? What is it you're benchmarking yourself up against in the future? Have you pre-convinced yourself that there's nothing to look forward to? Are you just going with the flow? Have you stopped trying altogether? The thing about action and taking action, even if we don't always know what it means, is that it creates momentum. As much as I did not know 2 years ago that I would still be podcasting, episode 174 didn't matter when I was on episode 1. It didn't matter what topic I was going to be talking about today because I wasn't there yet. But if I hadn't started episode 1 and then 2 and then 3 and took action and built momentum, this never would have happened. The only way that your best is in the past is if you don't create action and necessary steps towards your future. If you don't start to do the things and to create those ripple effects and to create momentum and strive towards something, that story and narrative will be true. I don't want another year to go by and for you to look back and wish you had done something different, wish you had tried something, wish you had believed in yourself more. We need to stop wishing and hoping and thinking and maybe and should have. Instead, we need to trust and try and believe. And again, this is a mirror and something I need to take advice from for myself. That's the only reason I'm able to talk about this episode is because I admitted to myself, like, you need to get out of your own damn way. As much as what we believe we're capable of, again, I keep reiterating this because it's so true, is what we will keep attracting. I know that the only way I was able to attract the partner I have now is because I started to believe I was worthy of more than the people I kept attracting. And I started to show up as such, treating myself the way that I deserved to be treated, talking to myself the way that I knew I needed to be talked to, treating others the way that I wanted to be treated. There's a reason that saying is so commonly used because what we put out is what we will get in return. Yes, things can happen by luck and by default, but that is not the way to live life. Your future is spotless. I don't care if you are 7, 17, or 70 listening to this. It doesn't matter. Your future is spotless. It is not until you put limits and barriers in place that will begin to dictate what that's going to look like. Yes, you might have amazing results in the past. You might have achieved great things in the past. But instead of limiting there and holding that as an anchor and hurting your future self, because there was a part of you that probably never believed that was possible. There was a part of me that never thought I'd play college basketball, never thought that I would, graduate with my social work program, never thought that I would get the jobs that I did, never thought that I would be there was a part of me that never thought that and thought that my previous accomplishments were all I was worthy of. But you keep going and you keep working and you keep grinding and you keep trying and you stand up every time you knock down and every time you fail, you get up and you learn from it. These are some of my favorite things to talk about because it's like, again, it's those ear-to-ear conversations that I have with myself, and it's like, that's really why I started this podcast in the first place. Rewiring our brain to inspire you to live a better life. That's the whole preface of my title and my theme of my podcast is, until we start to change that inner dialogue, it'll be a self-fulfilling prophecy. But once you start to change that and you change the way you think, you can begin to change your life. You'll begin to change how you show up. You'll begin to rewrite your future. But if there's zero part of you that is conscious of that, aware of that, you'll keep reiterating the same stuff. And so do you believe that your best is in the past? And if so, what can we do to shift that? What's one thing you can do to shift that so you can have some optimism and trust and faith and that some of your greatest days that you've never experienced yet are in the future? So much of life is about perception. And we will begin to see things in the way that we've perceived ourselves to see them. We have a bias on our own perception of the world. But if you live life every day thinking this could be the best day yet, this could be the action that leads to greatness, this could be the conversation that leads to an opportunity, this could be the meeting that I meet someone. When we live life in an optimistic lens, it allows us to see opportunities. But when we've closed that perception and we've closed that awareness and we've blocked ourselves, we are doing just that. We are blocking ourselves from seeing all the greatness that exists. So I hope that you take this straight to the heart and with love, and know that your greatest days are ahead of you. You have so many amazing memories that you have yet to make. And I hope you go into them with an open mind and an open consciousness and be ready to see them and to feel them and experience them and be present. But when we are stuck in our past and when we get in our own way, we don't get to experience those. And so I'm sending you all so much love. I hope you know that a lot of this just comes from struggling with our mental health. And so I hope you take time to do something that inspires you, that fills your cup. If you're needing to get some support to talk about things, to do some healing, whatever it is, just know that you're so worthy of that, but know that your future is so bright and you have so much potential and so much greatness, but not until you get out of your own way to experience that. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Happiest of November. I'm so curious who the November babies are. I'm a Sagittarius and I always just like to know who my other November babies are, my other friends are. So if that is you, I would love to know. If you could share the show, share this episode with someone you think would enjoy, that would mean the world to me. If you can leave a review, if you're on YouTube, if you want to subscribe, leave a comment below, give any feedback you like. I'm always open and very receptive to hearing any kind of feedback from you guys, because that is what helps me grow as a speaker and as a podcaster and just as an individual. So sending you guys so much love. I look forward to chatting to you all next week. Bye, you guys.